Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you for listening and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Nautical Lariat Show, aka the Nautical Lariat Podcast. As you can see, I am in no way, shape, or form on the screen, visually speaking, other than this beautiful picture of myself. This is by design because I am far too busy to set up the camera, green screen, and also the brand new tripod. So we will be having some audio adventures for this week and the next few weeks following today. Oh, Braeden, what on earth are you doing? Well, I'm happy that you asked because I am currently in both production and post-production stages of another personal project, so I don't really have the time to be editing this video and podcast while also editing and filming other more elaborate projects at the moment. But less about me and more about the topics at hand. Those topics being the films and series that have come out this past winter, spring, and early summer of 2025. Meaning that this episode is going to be a compilation of reviews, so make sure that you take a look at the time code in the description to jump around from different reviews from whatever you like and whatever you don't like. Also, let's get the plugging out of the way. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, and hit the bell notification on my videos. That is a great way to keep engagement up for me and to, help you see what is going on in my world. The handles for YouTube and Instagram are also currently on the screen now in 2 different places, so I don't really feel the need to read those out to you. Just pause the video and take a look if need be. If you'd like to support me and all my ridiculous adventures even more, you can go to www.prowrestlingtees.com/cutthroat-Jones to pick up a CBJ t-shirt. They are currently $15.99 USD, being one of the lowest costs across the entire site. Now, it has been brought to my attention that the delivery is a little steep for European countries, so if the delivery cost is a little bit too much for you, please let me know down in the comments. And let me know some other t-shirt specific websites that European pro wrestlers use for their merchandise. I know of Big Cartel out of the UK that Simon Miller uses, I think. But if you know of any, let me know and I will see what I can do. Okay, on with the news of the week. First off, Spaceballs 2 is official. If you're not in the know, Spaceballs is a sci-fi spoof movie from 1984 parodying Star Wars and Star Trek. Directed by Mel Brooks and starring Bill Pullman, Rick Moranis, and the late great John Candy. I am incredibly excited for this film. Mel Brooks is a 98-year-old legend of comedy, and he will be 100 years old when this film comes out in 2 years. Spaceballs is probably the best of Mel's comedies. There's a real argument for Blazing Saddles or Robin Hood Men in Tights. But yeah, I am over the moon excited for this film. Go watch the teaser trailer on YouTube now. Moving on to other sequels that aren't actually confirmed. The Batman Part 2 has been pushed back to 2027. There isn't a screenplay or a script yet. Rumor suggested that it was supposed to be this past Monday. It is currently Friday the 27th of June at the time of recording. There was supposed to be a script this past Monday, but James Gunn denied that was the case. I don't think this movie is happening, guys. I'm assuming you somewhat care about my 2 cents, and my 2 cents are that Superman is going to shake the superhero fatigue rust off of all of us, and DC is going to move right into the Batman/Batman Brave and the Bold movie. The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson as Batman Bruce Wayne, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman and Selena Kyle, and Colin Farrell as Oz Cobbs, aka the Penguin, originally came out in 2022. As soon as that film was deemed a success, they greenlit a sequel without any real plans in mind. My opinion, you shouldn't greenlight any project or make any idea of a sequel public until there is a finished script or screenplay. Unless the idea is pen to paper, it's just simply that, it's an idea. James Gunn even confirmed this philosophy of mine when he stated recently that a lot of movies, Hollywood and potentially the MCU in particular, are failing because they're being greenlit and pushed without finished scripts, which, I mean, you'd think big studio heads wouldn't be dumb enough to throw hundreds of millions of dollars at projects with no scripts, yet here we are, having it happen more often than not. So yeah, The Batman 2, I hope it happens. I really liked the first one, but it's been forever. My money is on it's not happening. I do hope I am wrong, though. Okay, on to the reviews. Let's rapid fire these. I will talk more about some than others. I will also briefly mention my Letterboxd reviews and the Letterboxd reviews of my arch nemesis Bruno, just to see how well his critical eye is. Something tells me that it's beyond bias, but hey, I guess not everyone can be perfectly non-biased like moi. But yeah, let's go right into the first up. A Working Man, starring Jason Statham. Beekeeper was my number one worst movie of 2024. This was genuinely better. I just wish they would stop making awful dog shit Jason Statham action movies. Like, make something good that's like John Wick or Taken or even Equalizer. This was pretty much that. This was pretty much the exact same sort of story as a John Wick or a Taken or Equalizer. Except the dialogue, the plot, and the writing as a whole was below average. I'm going to give it 60%, 12 out of 20, D-. Bruno's review, hell yeah. He's a working man, 4 stars. How descriptive, Bruno. Next, The Witcher, Sirens of the Deep. 70%, 14 out of 20, C-. It's The Little Mermaid with blood and guts. Nightmare of the Wolf was far superior and did more for the Witcher franchise than this, the live-action prequel series, and the 3 seasons of the main series has even done for this franchise. I like the idea of The Witcher, but Netflix has to stop, drop, and roll and rethink this IP moving forward. Bridget Jones 4, Mad About the Boy. 83%, 16.5 out of 20, and a B-. Yes, you heard that correctly. I like rom-coms. I like Bridget Jones. I have a wife, I have 4 sisters, and I grew up with a single mom. So, of course, I like these movies. I'm not a big fan of the let's kill off the 20-year-long love interest of the main female protagonist trend that has affected both this movie and Sex and the City, but I think this movie did it well. I did cry. I'm not ashamed of that. There were some great emotional moments in this movie. It's probably the best of the franchise, I think. Has a lot of heart. If you have a significant other, go definitely watch this movie. It's very sweet. It's very nice. HAVOC, or as you know it, the Netflix Tom Hardy film. 25%, 5 out of 20, F. This is probably going to be on the top 10 worst movies of 2025. I don't know where it's going to be yet, but it's probably going to be on there. The car effects look like they're pulled straight from a PS3 Need for Speed cutscene. They're not good. However, Bruno said, "This don't blink, adrenaline-filled, ultra-violent, chaotic mess is so satisfying." Yes, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but this reminds me of the glorious action movies of the 2000s. He then gave this 3.5 stars. I agree that it didn't make any sense, because it didn't, but I also like to add that there is probably a reason that this movie wasn't made in the 2000s, because it sucks. Don't watch it. Do not recommend. Okay, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Now, this was actually the first movie that I reviewed on Letterboxd, so I'm just going to give it a 2 thumbs up and tell you my stars and review. Although it was enjoyable send-off to the franchise. Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning had several of the same issues as its predecessor, one major one being its runtime. Despite this, and the several months and years of post-production hell, I still found a lot of heart and love in watching this film. I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Then, Bruno said, "Although it feels like the ending of a movie throughout the entire runtime, and it cannot work on its own, with every single dialogue being sentimental, this final chapter, for now, proves to be a very fun, thrilling, and satisfying end to one of the greatest action franchises ever. He then gave it 4 stars. Surprisingly, we're pretty even on this one. I do think it was a good finale. I just wish that it didn't take 30 minutes to get to the opening credits. I definitely think that has something to do with the reshoots and the fact that this was partially filmed during the pandemic. Tom Cruise had to pay pretty much the entire cast and crew or something like that. Don't quote me on it. But he had to pay for a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of reshoots because of the pandemic. This movie it was originally supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2. It got switched over to Final Reckoning. There's a lot going into this movie. So, yeah, very good. Go out and see it. Go support Mission Impossible. But yeah, I just wish it wasn't as long. Lilo and Stitch, 70%, 14 out of 20, C-. Don't waste your time, guys. Really don't waste your time. It's not anywhere close to as good as the original animation. They removed several pivotal, emotional moments throughout the entire movie, and they didn't add any in return to replace them, making it feel like a hollow cash grab. If you have kids, it's all right for kids. They're gonna like it. But if you have the choice between this and the original, just buy it or rent the original. It's far better, it's far superior. The moral of the story is far more coherent than this. This is just another cash grab. Disney, please stop doing this. Go back to making animated films that actually have some sort of heart with them, because I will tell you, this movie didn't really have any heart. Mickey 17, 85%, 17 out of 20, and a B. It was very good. My wife and I love Snowpiercer and Okja, so I knew we were probably going to like this as well. The only major critique is that Mark Ruffalo decided to do a straight-up impersonation of a certain someone in politics instead of making something uniquely himself for his performance. I get what he was going for, but it just feels forced, and it wasn't even a good impression. Still incredibly funny, but it did take me out of it a little bit. Bruno said, "Oh my god, they killed Kenny, the movie. Haha, it's South Park, I get it. This was funny, creative, entertaining, poignant, and cleverly yet not very subtly communicated its message and critique of today's politics and society." Very well spoken, Mr. Bruno. The only criticism from my part that will be a positive point for others, since the not-so-subtle approach is by design, is that the leader of the humans is very much in your face like a certain fella. 4.5 stars. Yeah, me and Bruno, pretty much the same idea. I'm starting to think this Bruno fella isn't so bad after all. Okay, The Electric State. 84%, 16.75 out of 20, B. I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's been getting a lot of negative reviews for some odd reason. I do think that if this movie came out in theaters, maybe during the fall or the winter season, maybe not a summer blockbuster, but maybe a fall or winter blockbuster, I think it would have done very well in theaters. It has that Ready Player One sort of feel with this movie. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the sci-fi dystopian universe that this was going for. So yeah, definitely go out and give it a watch. Give it a try. I think it's been unrightfully reviewed and criticized for whatever reason. It did cost a lot of money. Like, I'm talking like hundreds of millions of dollars, like almost $1 billion, I think. So yeah, Netflix probably has to stop doing this type of budget for these movies and just allow them to be released in theaters. Star Wars Episode 3 re-release, 78%, 15.5 out of 20, and C+. Bruno said, "From the story, the music, the spectacle, the battles, everything is to love in Revenge of the Sith. This movie may not be perfect in the conventional way, but even with its very minor flaws, the final chapter of Anakin's turn to the dark side is something that gives you all the feelings. Therefore, this movie is perfect. 5 stars. I think it's the best of the prequels, but it still has a plethora of problems. especially that Anakin heel turn. I still love seeing this 20 years after I first saw it in cinemas. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. This was really fun, and I enjoyed the nostalgia experience in the theaters. But, yeah, still, I'm going to end this on a positive note. I still really enjoyed it, despite its flaws. Okay, The Resident, Season 1, 90%, 18 out of 20, A-. A Netflix murder mystery comedy series taking place in the White House. Yeah, go watch it. More of this, please, Netflix. This was hilarious. This was funny. It was, I will say, it was also quite intelligent. Like, it was, while watching this, I felt smart. And I'm not the smartest guy. But it gave me the confidence of being like, oh, maybe I could be a detective. So, yeah, it was very smart. The dialogue was so quick, so funny. If you like witty, fast-paced comedy, this is definitely for you. Only Murders in the Building, Seasons 1 through 4, 100%, 20 out of 20, A+. Yes, I know this is not technically a 2025 series, but me and my wife binged all of it in 2 weeks. And we are very excited for Season 5 coming out this fall. Yet another murder mystery comedy series. The cast is insane. Selena Gomez, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. They are fantastic. They're comedic marvels. I cannot wait for Season 5, like I said. The tongue-in-cheek humor and sarcasm is off the charts. This is so far my favorite series I've seen this year. If I do a top 10 list, this is probably going to be number 1. Daredevil Born Again, Season 1, 88%, 17.5 out of 20, B+. Very good. I cannot wait for Season 2. This is better than Season 1 and Season 2 of Daredevil, but it's not as good as Season 3 of Daredevil. It's also very funny that the Born Again storyline from the comics that I actually just finished reading was pretty much already adapted for Daredevil Season 3, yet this show is called Daredevil Born Again. It's going to be interesting to see how they pay homage to the original comic with this new series when they technically have already done this story arc with Daredevil Season 3. Maybe it's only connected by name. Even in the comic book, Charlie Cox gave a foreword for Daredevil Born Again, the comic, in relation to this new series being released. So maybe they're only connected by name. There are some elements that they can implement into this new series from that book, but there's not a lot. A lot of the Matt Murdock central story arcs in that series were already done in some capacity with the last Daredevil series. So I'm very interested to see what Season 2 is going to bring to the table. Thunderbolts, Asterix, aka The New Avengers. 89%, 17.75 out of 20, B+. Or should I say, the best movie of the MCU since Endgame. And yes, I do remember the Spider-Man movies. This is more my cup of tea. And it's a shame that they aren't going to make a lot of their money back. If you guys have been paying attention to how much this movie is made, it seems as if they're not even going to break even. They're going to lose some money on it. But, hey, that's their problem. It's not mine, not my monkeys, not my circus. Also, Disney, Marvel, what are you doing spoiling your big new Avengers reveal? It was the biggest thing you had going for this film. Word of mouth would have put more butts in seats. You sort of shot yourself in the foot on this one. But yeah, very good movie. Great moral, great emotional beats, very funny. And the cast is phenomenal with great chemistry. So definitely go out and see it. We can try to help this movie. But yeah, it's been out for like 2 months now. And it doesn't look good for them making their money back. But maybe this will also help Disney and Marvel realize that they don't need to put millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars into these projects when they can just make good movies, pay everyone adequately, and give the effects team and the post-production team enough time to do well with the editing. So you're not going to lose a lot of money. I don't know why I'm giving you guys any business advice, but here I am. Okay, that's it. I've had your attention for far too long. now, so just make sure that you guys share, follow, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell notification. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Next time, potentially next week, I do not know, we will be catching up with all things WWE. So we have to go through Worlds Collide. We have to go through Money in the Bank. We have to go through Night of Champions, which is, as of recording, is tomorrow. Potentially all in Texas, depending on when this comes out. So, yeah. So until next time, have a great day. Savvy.
Whoa, Black Betty, bam, ba-lam. Whoa, Black Betty, bam, ba-lam. Black Betty had a child.